Well, there are a lot. I mean, you know, it's, I don't make as much money as I used to. That's hard. I have to think about it. You know, I have to bug people to pay me and things like that, which I didn't do before. I was always a salary kind of guy. I find that I find just organizing my day is hard, because when you've been a daily newspaper man for 35 years, you know, it's y'all can't imagine doing anything for 35 years, but you know, every day papers start out the day, there's nothing. Next day there's a newspaper. You know, you do that every day, and essentially, you know, it's less so now because newspapers are so thin and there's so little to them. But for much of my career, it was publishing a book every day from scratch, and that dictated everything you did. You know, you might, you know, have to fill out some forms, do some job evaluations on people who work for you or things like that, to please the people in the human resources department or whatever. But those things were as you could get to them. Everything was driven by the paper's got to get out, and you've got to get all this stuff done. And I find it, I found that oppressive when I was doing it. You know, that, oh my gosh, if I just had a day when I didn't have to do this one time. You know, but as soon as I lost it, it's very much a struggle for me to set priorities, figure out, you know, well, I got to keep the blog going. You know, it's like, I don't know if you've ever seen, a long time ago on TV, they used to be popular on what was called variety shows, to have these sort of magic acts where a guy would get plates spinning around on sticks. I don't know if you've ever seen a picture of anybody doing that. And he'd get a whole bunch of plates spinning. Well, it feels like that a lot, you know. I'm the director of communications and public relations at an advertising marketing firm called ADCO in town. And I'm dealing with multiple clients that they have, and all very different kinds of things that I'm doing for different people. And at the same time, I got to keep the plate spinning on the blog, because if you don't, it dies. It just, you know, it's like, you've probably heard that a shark has to keep moving or he dies. The blog has to keep moving or it dies. You know, you'll see people that, the world's full of alleged bloggers, you know, people who, I've got a blog, well, you go look it up and you see that the last time they posted something on it was July 2009 or something, you know. No, if you're not posting multiple times in a day, nobody's going to read it. And if you do, you get, I'm running about 170,000 page views a month right now. And that's pretty good. It's not the best, but it's just about the best read blog. Exactly. And you know, after 2 or 3 or 4 blogs, actually I don't know if there are that many in that category. It drops way off in terms of readership. The weird thing about that is that that's a lot more than I had on my blog at the paper. You know, when I was the vice president and editorial page editor of the state's largest newspaper, one of the best known conventional journalists in the state, and every week at the end of my column, go to my blog. And increasingly, that's what I wanted people to do, because I felt like the dead tree version was just so dead. You know, it didn't have links, didn't have any media with it. I wanted people to go read it online. Every week I had that free promotion to get people to go there. And the best I ever did was maybe about 1/3 of the traffic I have now. A lot of that is the promotion of social media. It's Facebook, Twitter, mainly. But I see there's a question about that later. So, are we going in order? We're going to Horace next. Okay.
Since you were last year, the media hasn't made much progress in gaining the trust of the public. What will it take for it to improve at doing so?
I have no idea. Having more money to do a better job would help a lot. And that's certainly gone the other way ever since. You know, the day that Robert Ariel, my good friend, who's one of the best editorial cartoonists in the country, the day he and I left the newspaper, we walked out, and I said to him, "You feel bad yet?" He said, "Nope," and we started laughing. And the reason why is because we didn't have to deal with that hassle anymore of getting that paper out every day with fewer and fewer and fewer and fewer resources, fewer people to do it, more to do, and you know you're doing a worse job than you did the year before. You know, most of my career was all about how can I be better? How can I do more and better than I used to do? You know, and for the last 10 years, it was all about, okay, how are you going to make do? How are you going to make do? Get the paper out. And got pretty sick of it. And I look at people who are still doing it, and I see how they all run ragged, trying to, you know, keep doing the thing, and you know, they have my sympathy. I guess I can say, well, they still got steady jobs with benefits for another day. Every day they expect to get laid off too, because the dynamics of it is the economics of it are. People talk about things like that, about people trusting the media and all that. That's not what the media is worried about right now. It's worried about surviving, and it has nothing to do with people trusting. It has nothing to do with the relationship between readers or viewers or whatever, journalists. That relationship's actually fine. Whatever polls will always tell you that oh, I don't trust the media, I don't trust used car salesmen, I don't trust doctors, you know, whatever. You can always find results like that. The fact is that more news is consumed, more news is read than ever. You know, it is greatly in demand. What has happened is the economics of it have fallen apart. There was this wholly separate transaction that was going on that was paying for it all these years, for the last, you know, worked well throughout the 20th century until the last couple of decades. That basically you went out and sold ads. People paid a lot of money for those ads to be in this mass circulation thing and bring customers to their businesses. And completely separately from that, there was this newsroom over here that had nothing to do with those advertising people or the people who bought the ads or anything. That business side had nothing to do with them. They were just paid out of the money that came in from that advertising to go out and collect news and present it to people and publish it. Completely different thing. And which was always hard for readers to understand. They get confused about the two things. But what's happened is that the advertising part of the business is just falling apart. You know, it's probably an ad agency. And I've been there for over a year. Maybe once or twice I've dealt with something we would call an ad. You know, it's mostly about coming up with, analyzing your communication needs, public relations, image, how you present it, your interactive services, those kinds of things. It's very seldom, oh, I'm going to go to this newspaper or magazine or TV station or radio station and buy an ad. There's just not that much of it going on. And one of the reasons why is about 30 years ago you started seeing a movement, and you know, none of this has anything to do with politics or journalism or anything. It's just business. You started seeing a move in the retail sector toward away from I want to be in a mass medium like television, newspaper, radio. I want to reach out directly to my customers. I want to identify them and reach out to them. Kind of started with, I'd say the early 80s, with a move toward direct mail. You know, just sending ads straight to people in the